Hello, this is SeeWing Yee from the Yee Real Estate Network, and this podcast is specifically designed for those of you who are in the U.S. military community, whether you are in active duty with any branch of service, or whether you are ex-veteran, reservist, or military retirees, or even spouses. I would like to keep this podcast a little bit short because there will be more educational podcasts coming up. So with that said, as this hat indicates, this hat denotes 101st Airborne Division. I was stationed at the U.S. Army Fort Campbell back in 1981, 1982. I've been in active duty service for the past 20 years. I'm retired. Military back in 2002. We're talking almost 20 years ago. I retired from the U.S. Army. I'm a staff sergeant. I've been in active duty for 10 years, and after that, I was in the U.S. Army and Army National Guard Reserve. All right. So with that said, and I'm here. Look, currently I'm trying to build up my military resources on my website. Just bear with me right now. The only tool you have available really is through my YouTube channel, although my website, the Yee Real Estate Network, will have a lot of information about real estate investing. So I've been working in a real estate community for the past 20 years, and I live here in the San Francisco Bay Area for the past 30 years. But it has taken me, I don't know why it took me so long to reach out to the military community. So I've been helping regular real estate investors throughout the country for the past 20 years to buy out-of-state rental turnkey cash flow properties in the best cash flow markets in the country. So better late than never. Again, I would like to also become a real estate consultant / advisor for military folks out there, regardless of your situation. All right. So let me give you some exciting information. And then again, if you subscribe to my channel, you will receive more contents. So although physically I'm here in San Francisco Bay Area, I've been here for the past 30 years. I'm sort of semi-retired, but not really. I run this real estate investment club, the Yee Real Estate Network, for the past almost 20 years, and I have several thousand members in my organization that have access to free educational information about real estate investing. So I want to incorporate the military community to educate and inform you guys so you can achieve your definition of financial freedom. But since I'm so well versed in the military, obviously, and I like to use the VA loan as a kind of a foundation, kind of a benchmark. And as I mentioned on my earlier video, your VA loan is really the ticket to paradise. Is really quote unquote a real estate lottery, believe it or not, right? So I'll get more into it, but the remaining few minutes of this or this podcast, let me say this, all right? Let's say you're gonna spend 20 years in the military, and maybe even 30 years. Let's assume that in each duty station, you can stay there for like 2 or 3 years. Just do the math, right? You have the ability to buy a house using VA loan at every duty station. So in a 20-year time span, if you move every 2 or 3 years, you have the ability to buy at least 8 properties. Okay, you live at your principal home at each duty station, right? When it's time for you to PCS to another duty station, then don't sell your current VA property you live in. You just rent it out when you leave, right? Rent the property out, and then when you get to your next duty station, you reuse the VA loan 0% down. You buy the house as a principal home, right? So it does not matter. Let me say this. Even if you just do one tour, your initial obligation, 3 to 4 years, whatever. Even if when you're done, you could say to yourself, I'm not gonna stay in the military anymore, or become a civilian, fine. Then wherever you decide to live in, whatever location in the US, you decide to live there for the rest of your life, whatever, you can still potentially reuse the VA loan. Let me say this once again. If you're in active duty, really, in a way, it does not matter what rank you're in. By the way, I don't want to get into too deep. If you live in a wrong part of the country, and I quote my fingers, wrong part of the country, if you live in Hawaii or West Coast of the US or Northeast for that matter, I hate to say this, it's kind of hard for you to buy a property in those regions. Now, people don't talk about it. People in the military, the real estate consultants who are in the military community, they don't, at least I have not heard of any kind of videos that mention about the type of houses, what are the numbers and what have you. But any kind of area of the country where the housing prices are very, very high, it's very, very difficult to make this happen, all right? Because when you purchase when your property are converting into a rental property, the number has to work, okay? You need to have a rental income which match the purchase price of your home, so you can achieve at least break even or positive cash flow. And a lot of people do not discuss that. So I'll get into them more often, but the numbers gotta be right. You cannot buy $1 million home, as a military member, right? And expect to convert that into a rental property, right? It's just the number just does not work. All right. So having said that, you can be, again, I'm not an expert on VA loans, but how you become eligible to buy a VA property with a regular property, principal home with a VA loan, is that you gotta meet all the loan requirements. Your credit score, your income level, and all that stuff. So in terms of qualification, now you can't, as a private E1, E2, when you first after boot camp. Right after boot camp, I do not think you're qualified to buy a property. Not just yet, until maybe. Don't quote me on it. I mean, I have to check some with some VA lenders. I think you have to, be in the military for active duty for maybe 1 or 2 years until you become a E3 or E4, something like that, right? 1 or 2 years of military experience, then you will qualify and all that. But if you are an officer, right, after 1 or 2 years, you enter as a second lieutenant, a newbie, then you become a first lieutenant in about 2 years. You qualify easily. As an officer, I mean, you make more money, so you have an easier time qualifying as opposed to enlisted, right? That's pretty obvious. But of course, each duty station, they have this, BAS, Bachelor's Allowance for Housing, BAH, I'm sorry, Bachelor Allowance for Housing, based on your rank and your years of service. And then the cost of living in an area where you're stationed at, they will give you a certain housing allowance. So that housing allowance is very, very significant in addition to your base pay to qualify you to buy the price point that you need to buy. So having said that, again, if you can spend 20 years in service, whether you're enlisted or officer, you have the ability to own 7 to 10 properties. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? It is. Now, if you leave the military after the first initial enlistment and then settle down wherever you want to live, you can reuse the VA loan again and do the same thing, depending on where you live, right? Like I said, if you live in San Francisco Bay Area, with the median price of a home is like 1.5 million, the area where I live, I mean, that's not going to happen, right? You can't make this happen. You cannot create a portfolio of real estate properties with a high price house. You just can't do that. So let me give you a heads up. The best kind of property where you could buy VA properties, buy properties using VA 0% down VA loan is in the South and Southeast and the Midwest. The Midwest, South, and Southeast is where is the optimum situation where you have the ability to buy 0% down house a number of times, reuse your benefits, reuse your entitlements, assuming you have decent credit, right? Assuming or the area where you are stationed have good properties and so forth. One more thing I want to say, house hacking, you don't have to buy a single family home to live in with a VA loan. You have the ability to buy a duplex, triplex, and a maximum of fourplex using a 0% down VA loan, right? As long as you have the intention to occupy one or the unit as a principal home, then you'll be able to buy a property using 0% VA loan. Let me say this, is it shocking and amazing? Ordinarily, a regular investor, they need at least 25% down payment to purchase a duplex, triplex, and fourplex, or even higher, right? You pay 0% down. It's like winning the real estate lottery. You know how to calculate returns, right? Or 0% down, you pay some of your closing costs, or might even get offset by a little bit. So I'm not asking you to do a calculation, but your return on your investment, what investment? You have no skin in the game, right? So the power of a VA loan is just immense. When I entered the military long time ago, I have no clue with respect to the power of the benefit of using a VA loan. It's just amazing. I'm not saying all of you can do it. You have to get educated. You have to understand budget, saving money. You have to have motivation. You have to, when you buy any kind of property, that's a higher level of responsibility, right? You gotta pay your mortgage. You have to watch your expenses. You have to have the good credit. So you have to learn more. The regular folks out there, they have problems buying investment property, the majority of the US population. So a lot of you guys, you come from all part of the country, of the US and in other places, entering the military, that's the last thing on your mind is to, buy multiple properties using the system I'm explaining it to you. So it's a long journey. I'm not saying anybody can do it, right? Most people, just simply not aware, right? So I'm gonna leave it at that. All you gotta do is subscribe to my channel, and then I will continue to put out the podcast. I will enhance my website a little bit more to accommodate the military community. Right now, my website is geared for regular investors, regular real estate investors, which I've been doing for a very long time. Properties located all over the US. I've been a real estate investor for almost 30 years. I have used VA loans to buy a number of properties in my lifetime journey. When I was in military, I worked as a finance specialist, so I understand all about military pay, housing allowance, and all those kind of things, right? I have a very strong financial background. When I got out of the military, I entered the financial planning profession for several years, and as a tax accountant for several years before I opened up my real estate investment company, the Yee Real Estate Network, in 2005. All right. So anyway, that's all I have to say. So thank you so much for listening. Again, my motivation is to become the go-to real estate advisor for military members, regardless of your branch of service, and active duty, reservists, military spouse, and military retiree. Those what encompass the community where throughout your specific journey, you can use and reuse the 0% down VA loan to achieve amazing lifetime wealth for you and your family. All right, that's all I have to say at this moment. Thank you so much for attending, and I will talk to you very, very soon. This is SeeWing Yee. Have a nice day. Goodbye.